people have been I've been reading lately, so people have been calling it too mellow, like like they are not used to this much of sweetness and this much of happy ending and these kind of films in Malayalam cinema. And when they've got it, they're not able to accept it in a way, or they are not able to digest the fact that how can it all be so happy go lucky, everything is everything working out at the end of the film. And so did you feel the same way, like it was it too sweet in a way?
So the thing about Varshangalku Shesham for me was that exactly what was the case for you with Avisham, right? So
Right.
also when I had gone, to watch say a Premalu or something, the trailer was playing, but there were no subtitles in the trailer, so I did not understand the context or anything. So I did not know anything basically about what the film was about. And so when I watched it, I was pleasantly surprised. I did not go with a um, thinking that it would be like a comedy, or I didn't know what to expect. I just went in and I absolutely loved it. And one of the reasons why, I don't know whether you have you watched the film.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so one of the reasons why I think we'll appreciate that film a little more is because that such films aren't made anywhere else in the country, right? It's not made in Hindi at all now. There was once upon a time when Raju Hirani was making, a
Yeah,
bank out of such films. But
yeah,
with Donkey, I think he went horribly wrong. But other than that, I don't see this genre being absolutely attempted at all. So it was something fresh for me. It was new for me. I didn't mind the, and I don't think it was melodramatic. I don't think it was melodramatic. I think it had its heart in the right place. It definitely was filled with a lot of sweetness. That is
hmm,
for sure. But it's always a question, right? How much sweetness is too much sweetness? And I didn't mind this. I like this sugar rush in the film. So it worked for me. It worked very well for me. But I think the feedback that I got on my video, as well as on some of the social media sites, that probably the film isn't up to the mark, isn't up to the same level. I mean, that's a perspective, opinion everyone can have, but I think it is more of an expectation versus a reality for that film, although the film is still an industry hit. It has still worked at the
yeah.
box office.
It has, like, so see, there is a difference between something working on box office versus something being critically acclaimed, right? There have been many examples across industries, like so in that sense, like, so I also felt like my first impression when I walked out of theater from that film was like, how we were talking about, like, 2023 was not that great a year because of the benchmark Malayalam cinema is set. Same way I felt with this film. Like, I thought that the benchmark of Malayalam cinema, this is not a bad film, but this is also not one of those extraordinary films that you will remember for a long time, right? This is like a good one time watcher. And uh, we have seen, of course, melodramatic films in the past as well from this industry, but something that people were sort of complaining about in this film, as you said, was stemming down to the fact that they were expecting more comedy, and
Yeah.
they ended up getting more drama over there. But performances wise, you cannot complain. Both of them did such a fab job. And even
Wonderful
the
job. Yeah.
even the supporting cast as well. I absolutely loved the fact that Nivin Pauly was sporting enough to actually do a satirical role on himself, playing himself, a version of himself. And and as you said just before the video started, how we were talking that Malayali from India has not got good reviews, and that was his actual, that was his pickle in the film, that was his beef in the film, that why my films are not working. And I hope that it gets better over the weekend, or gets better word of mouth or something. But for him to be portraying that role, it kind of reminded me of how like in Tees Marka, Akshay Khanna had played that role. So exaggerated sort of
It was
version.
done very well. That humor that I think he and most people will agree with that. Small role, big impact. Nivin Pauly in the
Yeah,
second half of Varshan
him
Galku, I
and
think he
him and
and
even
people why a reason why it may have worked. A large chunk of it would go to Nivin Pauly also,
yeah,
despite it being a
yeah,
slightly smaller role. Yeah,
yeah,
he
and
definitely
also
owned the stage.
the guy who directed Minal Murli, I'm forgetting his name. He
Basil Joseph.
Basil Joseph, like he also, played that role of assistant director to
assistant
perfection.
director.
Like, he looked every part. And who would say that, so somebody who's new to Malayalam industry, if you told him that, this guy
He's the
has
director
directed the first proper superhero film of Malayalam industry, which was a huge Netflix hit,
in a
and
budget of 18 crores. Beat that.
yeah, and
It's a
and he was all
shoestring budget.
and he did an absolutely 360-degree opposite role in Jaya Jaya Jaya, which was
Jai
another
Jai
huge
Jai.
hit. So, when it comes to talent, these people are absolutely, crazy, insanely talented,
Absolutely.
and they fill different shoes with so much of effortlessness and ease now. The
And
three
I
years which
think
have
that's
been
also
seen.
another reason. That's also another reason that the actors take up multiple jobs as well. Like
Yeah,
Vineet Srinivasan, who's the director of
yeah,
Ashangal, who's also an actor.
yeah. He
Shobin
was
Shahir also has
driving the car,
directed
right?
it.
He was a driver, right?
Yeah, he was a driver,
Vineet,
taxi
yeah,
driver, correct.
yeah,
Shobin Shahir has also directed a film. He's
yeah.
also a technician. Basil Joseph is also a director, also an actor. So Prithviraj Sukumaran is also a director.
Dilish Potan.
So
Dilish Potan
yeah,
is
so he's
another
made
example.
Dilish Pothan as well. So there are it does help, when you are
Yeah,
behind the
yeah.
camera, front of the camera. It definitely does,
And
help
so,
your cause when you're more empathetic. You work as a team, even if something goes wrong. For example, even Manjumal boys, every other, I think, actor, one of the boys that were there, they are directors in their own capacity. Khalid
mm,
Rehman was there. I think Lal Jr., who has a movie coming up now this
yeah,
weekend. Nadikar with Tovino Thomas. He had directed, by the way, Driving License earlier.
right.
So, they all are
Yeah,
directors. They know
and
they are multifaceted. You just don't stick to acting. Just don't stick to directing.
and this
Either,
got me
Mahesh
thinking.
Narayanan, we did talk, he's an editor also.
This got
He's a
me thinking.
cinematographer also.
This got me thinking how there are countless examples here, and I can hardly think of one or two names in
Yes.
Bollywood. Like, people who direct and act with the same finesse. It's. I mean,
I
you
think
can't really.
only Ajay Devgan, I think, is a good technician in the Hindi belt.
Right, right, right.
Better than what I consider him as an actor. Sunny Deol has done it less effectively.
I mean,
Um,
we have seen
yeah.
Anurag Kashyap act, but that's like
Um,
hardly you won't really.
I wouldn't call him an actor. With all due respect, he's a great
Yeah,
director, but actor is okay.
yeah, that's the thing. I mean, this is also like, now that just doing this analysis, this has got me thinking. This might be another reason why they have been
Yeah,
making such sort of cinema which stands out, because of them being multi-skilled and multi-talented, and doing different
absolutely.
roles at the same time in a project. So that really helps. I'm sure it helps, because being a musician. So before, a few years ago, I didn't used to write lyrics, and when I started doing that, it helped me understand different facets of music as well. So I'm sure it's the same with filmmaking too. If you edit, if you write scripts, if you act, if you direct, so doing different hats together. So in that sense, yeah,